Hello there. What is the one skill that helped you succeed in life?
Hi, thank you for asking. The one skill that helped me succeed in life was learning Arabic. I've got the original book here,
Yeah.
and I was very young. I was 16, and I learned to read and write Arabic.
Wow. And where was that?
I was working in a shop
Mhm.
against all the advice I give my children today. I'd gone and got a job in an antique shop when I was 16. I gave up my A levels and I thought, okay, I'm a big girl. I can go and earn some money. London, it's all happening. And so I went into central London, got a job,
Mhm.
and I didn't think I was very clever. I didn't think I could do it at all. And, I didn't think I could do my A levels, do a degree like everyone else was doing. And because I sometimes found it hard to concentrate and to do things that I thought were boring, which weren't boring. I was just being silly. And so I was working in the shop. Lady from Sotheby's came and she said, look, we've got the European art is upstairs and downstairs is the Islamic art. And she said, if you learn to read and write Arabic, you're a bright person. You should come and help me to catalogue the items in this collection.
Mhm.
She was very English. She spoke Arabic herself. And so I thought, yeah, why not? I'll do it. And so I bought the books and it was very expensive. I had a look today. This book now is £308. But back in the day, it was a lot of money for me. I didn't have any money. My mum and dad worked on market stalls. They'd finished school when they were 14. So there was nobody spending money on books like it wasn't a thing. Having books was not, you know. But I spent the money on this because I thought maybe she's right. Maybe there's something in it. I'll have a go.
Mhm.
And so I went to Morley College in London, um, up in Lambeth North, got the tube. And then I just went um, once a week for a lesson. And
Mhm.
then after a couple of years, at first I was going to give up because it was really, really difficult. And
Mhm.
then I saw how beautiful it was, and I learnt the script. And so I learnt to read and write, and I can still read and write today. But
Amazing.
I can't say anything. I can say marhaba, kif haluk. But beyond like please sit down, all that good stuff. My Arabic is not very good at all. And I did try in lockdown, but I just I couldn't manage it. So that helped me because then I thought,
Mhm.
you know what, I quite enjoyed learning Arabic. I quite enjoyed learning. And so I started to go to night school. I found my way into a magazine and worked up from the bottom. And then when I was about 22, I thought, you know what? I'd love to do a degree because learning one thing had helped me to understand what learning was, and how you have to apply yourself. I think when I was 16, I didn't realize that's what you had to do to enjoy it. The more
Mhm.
you put in, the more you'll get out. So I was very lucky to have had this conversation with the lady from Sotheby's
Mhm.
that made me learn something. And then I did a degree, then I did Erasmus in France, and then I
Wow.
did a master's at Cambridge. So I sort of, you know, it was a long journey, but yeah, I was very lucky to have learned Arabic.
Wow, what an inspiration story. Actually, my story and yours is kind of similar
Very
because
similar.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because like
Yeah.
for me, it was Danish language. I came to Denmark as a refugee, and in the Somali community, I came from originally from Somalia. So everybody was saying like learning the Danish language is nothing. English is international language, and learning Danish language, it is like living. And even if you get an education in Denmark, the way they used to tell me, it's like living, having a necklace in your neck, and you're gonna live that knowledge and that language skills that you attain in school in the Danish or Copenhagen airport when you
Mm,
are traveling abroad. But I didn't believe them. So I pushed
yeah.
myself to learn the Danish language. After I finished that, I went, you know, to college and later to university. So you are a role model, you are an inspiration because a lot of people, people who succeed in life, they often have one key skills that
Mm.
actually shaped their journey and unlock their success. So for you, it is actually learning Arabic. That was your motivation. So why do you think a lot of people are not actually finding that one skills that will unlock their success in life?
Um, I suppose it's luck, isn't it? You know, I could have gone and worked in Marks and Spencer's or
Mhm,
another shop,
mhm,
and I might never have met that lady.
mhm,
So it's, I don't know. I think maybe the reason people don't do something that will,
mhm.
it,
I
I, it's being open, isn't it? You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could have gone, oh no, but it's there's a lot of Islamophobia in the world. There's a lot of fear,
Mhm.
and I didn't think about that because I was young. I was like, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, let's do it. So I think it's having the courage to go, "Do you know, I'm going to do something totally ridiculous. I mean,
You just said it.
what,
It is courage.
yeah,
It
just
is
be
courage.
silly, just be a little bit mad. Not
Yeah.
mad, that's the wrong word, but be a
Mhm.
little bit different. Because why Danish? What was your pull to that
Oh,
language?
Oh, you're asking me the question. Yes, I was a refugee, and when you come to a new country, either you integrate to the society and you actually learn their language, their culture, and you become part of that community, or you actually close all ears and eyes, which is not learning their language. So I chose the fast. I wanted to integrate. I wanted to get an education. I always believed education is the right path, and the key to actually do what I want in life. I wasn't motivated by money. I was always motivated by doing and creating an impact. And especially when you are a refugee and you actually see the West, you always either it breaks you and you want to actually just shut down and do nothing and become numb, or you actually to reinvent yourself and utilize all the potential and opportunities that surrounds you. So for me it was must, if I want to be part of the Danish society, and which actually allowed me to come to the to UK and get my university degrees. So when somebody sees you, actually your story is very inspirational because you are British. So tell me a little bit about who you are, your name, what you do. It's amazing that you went to Cambridge. You are Cambridge, grad. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
So we're going back to when dinosaurs walked the earth. We probably haven't got enough time to go through the whole history. So I came from a very lovely, very intelligent family, but no one had ever gone to university or my parents left school when they were 14, and I left when I was 16. But I have an aunt who was twice world champion ice skater. And as we say in the family, her brains were in her feet. So had someone in the family who had done something really good, And my dad, he was a judo man. He was black belt judo. So people, you know, were bright, very bright people. And I was very lucky in that regard because they believed that, you should love your children, encourage your children. It doesn't matter what your beginnings are, like just be a person. So there was a lot of love and encouragement. So, I haven't had, the things you've been through in my life. I've been very lucky because, okay, we've been poor, but we haven't been, at
Mhm.
risk in the UK. So, I look at the world now and I feel very blessed. So anyway, I became a journalist when I was very young. I
Mhm.
sort of used that learning the Arabic. I knew I could learn. I learned all the printing marks. I learned sub editing. I learned magazine production. And I was thinking today, about how you could say to a young person, they could say, oh, AI is going to do all of this. But that's another question. So anyway, I worked for ITV and I'd published in The Guardian, Red Magazine, BBC's magazine Eve, uh, and even the Mirror, Private Eye. So I'd had a lot of journalistic writing experience. I was in features, not news, so I was doing like analysis and research. And after I did my degree, I went to the Home Office and I became an editor there. And I don't know if you want the whole story, but
Yes.
I I within a very short space of time, my first son was coming. So I had a family very young, Jack, who is an absolute blessing, and then later my son Max. And I when they were older, then I sort of stopped the journalism and I went to ITV and I was editing there and I had a lovely job title, etc. And I kind of got sucked into corporate communications, which is where you're really trying to help an organization to succeed by helping different parts of it communicate and to find their way of telling the story in a coherent fashion. Because, a big organization, I went off after that to Deloitte and then to Thomson Reuters, 49,000 people all over the world in Thomson Reuters. How do they tell their story? What's the narrative? How do you cut through the noise to reach people? And I loved that. That was fascinating to me. So then I sort of found my mojo and a way of storytelling, if you like. But while I was at ITV, I'd always written stories. I'd always loved poetry and always writing. I think I was a bit bullied at school because I was genuinely slightly weird. And I I had loved I'd loved TV, but also the reality I saw on TV. I'm from Brixton, it was all these young guys. Anyone whose face wasn't white was, kind of a rapist or a killer. It, it jarred with me a little bit. I just didn't like the storytelling. I just thought it was too beige and vanilla. And when I was at ITV, they allowed us to go on any course that we wanted to within a price range to develop ourselves. So I went on the screenwriting course. And it's there that I learned how to structure a script. And it came in very useful. I'd learned how to speech write, but now I wanted to be able to tell a story on a screen. And, how do you do that? How do you build a world with words? So I did that. And then obviously carried on with my work and did some other screenwriting courses. And after lockdown, I'd been through a very hard period. My mum was ill. My both my parents passed away in quite a short time, and my son was ill. And um, I met up with an old friend I'd known from the nursery school, and we realized we had a very important story to tell, and so we started to write it using my screenwriting skills. And she had watched so much Netflix during lockdown that she, and she's got a fantastic memory. She could work out how to structure what was going on, how to get suspense. So we started off writing a TV series about a serial killer, which we've just finished the pilot of now. But then we wrote a feature film together, and we've just won Best Drama at the City of Angels Film Festival in New York. Sorry, in Hollywood. So, this is what we're doing while that happens, because it's a very slow process to take an idea and make it into a film. It's very expensive, like it's a big finance project. Um, at the same time, I also had a role at Thomson Reuters where I was director of innovation, and I learned about all the techniques to boost creativity. So now I've set up a little company called After AI, and the idea is to help people and navigate the change, how we work, how we use our time, um, and and for some companies who are having their lunch eaten by AI, to help them to survive, to diversify, find new revenue streams. So it's really just looking at what is this world we are moving into, and can I be useful? Because AI can write, it can't write screenplays yet, it can't write novels, but it can have a good go at a speech by a CEO, or it can have a good go at a press release or what have you. So I'm diversifying as the world is expanding and changing in front of us all.
Amazing. Wow. You actually opened my eyes, in a different level, because someone like you who is British, that one skill that you had the courage and, being an open-minded person has its own advantages, and you were open-minded, and so you took that, one step and learned that one skill which led you to be where you are. And a lot of people actually at this given time, and you just said it, AI, a lot of people losing their jobs, a lot of people becoming very lazy because of they know they're gonna do the work, using AI, and they are not motivated as such. But learning and hearing your story will motivate them, and they will actually try to find, a way to find that one skill that will actually unlock all, success that they need in life. So, wow, very, so is there like, do you, your company, how do people reach out to you?
Yeah, so it's trademarked After AI, and it's a registered trademark of the company, The Missing Manual Limited, which is a very bad, very poor marketing because it's a big mouthful. So yeah, if you look for Victoria Silverman or Victoria Harbord online, I'm uh, I'm there, and I'm I'm excited about the future. But I did think this morning, is it worth someone learning all this if you can just do Google Translate? And I don't know if you've had the same thoughts, Dr. Sadiyo, but is it worth doing? And I thought, what would I say to someone now who's looking for the skill?
Mhm.
And I know this is going to sound really old fashioned, right?
Mhm.
But save up like 10 quid and go to the magazine racks, because magazines, like online, is designed to keep you there and to give you small bouts of stuff, right? If you get a really good magazine and you look at it, say, you might say, okay, I'm interested in finance, or I'm interested in AI, or I'm interested in uh, geography and I want to learn something. If you get a magazine like National Geographic, it's designed to help you understand things in a really smart way. And it gives you something you can hold in your hand, or you can get the digital version, but it's really a good magazine is like being in a lovely bath because it's going to wash you over with ideas and thoughts and different things. If you take up a magazine, satirical magazine like Private Eye, or a women's magazine that's not too full of stuff you can't afford to buy, which most of them are, or like a Sunday newspaper, and just use that as like it's very old fashioned, but as a starting point to where do you want your one skill to be? Because I think that's hard, isn't it? To know. And we didn't have books at home, but we did have magazines. We used to get Private Eye, Police Review, Sunday Times, the News of the World, which was really quite bad, but it, in many ways. So I think it's like being able to find that skill, and you obviously your language,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't do what everyone else is doing. I think that's the thing, isn't it? Don't just do, it's AI, I've got to learn about AI. Ooh, no, find something like playing the lute, or learning how to wash a dish with mindfulness or something, because um, it's just like a chain reaction in your brain, isn't it? Different things happen, and slowly, 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 you expand your brain. I think science is an incredible area for people because the advances in medicine in the last 20 years are
Mm-hmm.
just extraordinary. I think that's because teams are diverse and they're not sort of all built around one person. It's about a team, you know?
Yeah.
So things now, it's not just about, Steve Jobs, Steve. It's about people really collaborating and the genius of everybody in the room counting. And that is, you're not going to have the same kind of fame or money, but you're going to do something in the world that really benefits it.
Yeah, and as you said, like, no one is, can do everything on their own. And you collaborating with your friend, look, the company that you guys created or you created, and, you are collaborating with her. It is that kind of inspirations that we are looking for. We established a community library in Mogadishu, in Somalia. And my hope was, to inspire and give opportunities, space where they are free to read and explore, because after the war there's none except ours, a public community library. And it is great to establish this kind of things. And since 20 I returned back to Somalia 2011, and from 2011 till 2014 I was just doing research. And 2014 I registered a Hano Academy, which is academic progression and polytechnic academy. And later on we have created Hano Technical University and Hano Connect. And with all those different initiatives to date, we have helped 55,000 people. But now we want it to
That's
be
brilliant.
global. Thank you. We want to be global, and we want it to inspire next generation, especially young people who
Mm,
don't know their purpose of life, who they cannot just find their one skill that will actually unlock so many opportunities that
mm.
surrounding them. And listening to your story, knowing your background, a lot of people will identify because you are a Londoner. But you find your way by meeting somebody and just, saying, just learn Arabic. And you give it a go, and everybody is capable of learning. If somebody tells you, me,
Yeah,
like, I can't learn anything, no, I want, they need to find their way of learning.
yeah. And I mean, the good thing is now, it used to be, if I'm going to learn something, then mummy and daddy will get me a tutor if you're rich. But if you're not rich, that doesn't exist. But now we've all got a tutor in our pocket. So if you go, okay, I'm going to find out how an algorithm works, you can just go to
YouTube.
chatbot and say, hey, how does it work? Tell me. And then that's like your first step in, you know. So it is about being interested in stuff and not I'm a parent myself, and I know that young people do not listen to their parents, you
Unfortunately.
know.
Unfortunately.
Fortunately, because you wouldn't be where you were if you'd have everyone had gone, oh, you've got to learn English. Everyone knows English. Who knows Danish? You know, like the happiest, probably the most prosperous country in the one of the happiest, most prosperous countries in the world. And you went, and if you learn something about a culture, that shows that you're interested and you're not spinning on your own universe. Like you're interested in other people, you're interested in other things. So yeah, I was very proud of one of my sons who's 24 now. He he got a free trip out to Dubai, obviously before the conflict, and he was really he they were staying in some sort of Burj Al Arab type hotel. And he went to meet the workers and he went and had his hair cut. He went and had a curry and he just talked to people who are building that city, often with not much reward or thanks, and sat and talked with them. And I was really proud of him because it just shows that you got to be curious wherever you go and look in the cracks and the margins. Like you're not going to find success just doing what everyone else does because then there comes a point where it's like everyone was, you got to know how to code, you got to know how to code. And then suddenly, Anthropic can code better in 5 minutes than is up there with the masters of coding or play the game Go, a machine can do it better. So it's really about looking for the small things that you can do, the one skill, like you say, and don't think about it changing your life because you might have to like try 20 skills, but then you'll find the one. It might be reading poetry to dogs, do you know what I mean, or to cats, but that might be the one thing where you calm down and your brain works. And then you think, okay, I can read poetry to a cat. I'm going to read some poetry on Instagram. And then people might see you reading poetry on Instagram to your cat and your parrot. And then they might, do you know what I mean? Like it's like things happen in very mysterious ways.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, we all need, to learn many skills, and we learn different skills to our daily life. Like even if you're a baby, you need to learn how to walk. That's a skill. How to talk. All of that are skills. But those different skills have different purposes. But this one skill is the one that encourages you. It is that one specific key skills that we really would like people when they listen to you and say, aha, the reason that I'm actually finding it my right path might be I haven't actually found that one skill that will help me to unlock. And as you said, we don't need to actually think and like, oh, I need to find that, but just to inspire, listening your story and get inspired, and they will definitely find that one skill that is so important in their life today to succeed in life.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And even if you haven't got an iPhone, it's just find a magazine, go to a library. The library is lovely, isn't it? And look at the books and maybe go and learn about birds or go and learn about history
Yeah.
because something in there can unlock so much for you. Even like for me, I thought I was thick. And then until I started to learn something, I was actually, no, I can learn stuff. Just I have to do it in my own way, which is it's quite slowly with a lot of repetition. But then it goes in, and then my brain has a bit of a, party. So it is
And it is
it's like
something, yeah, and it's also some things that nowadays our schools are not helping as much as they should sometimes for students. such as like if they have like learning disability, or if they have different ways of learning, or or they haven't found that little push that they might need from home or elsewhere, because people mature differently. And when you are in education, um, an area, you or a school, people find like some people learn very fast, others might gradually learn, so people have different
Yeah.
ways of learning. I was dyslexic, I was a refugee, I struggle in school, but I was so in love. I had to work more hours than my peers, for example. I
Yeah,
remember.
me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I had to when I finally got to university, I had to go to the lecture and then take the notes, and then I had to record it onto a machine and then read it back and write the note out 10 times before anything stuck. My brain just
Wow.
it's
I
not instant, but also school was not designed for us.
no,
You know what I mean? And I
no.
think that is one of the great sadnesses of the world is that,
Mhm.
it's designed for the people whose brains go, yes, 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 yes. And some of those people are so utterly brilliant that it's good because they need to have this path where they go whoosh up and they train their brain and they learn in a very set way, but it doesn't suit everyone. To be honest, right, I think we're like 30 years away from the evolution of education in schools. I know people are on it now, but they're like small marginal voices saying neurodiversity. And people are trying, and teachers do such good work. But I think like neurodiversity, they're almost trying to make neurodiversity sit in the way that they look at neurotypical people in straight lines. And the thing is that it might be that someone can't tie their shoelaces or they can't they can't bear being in the class. But some they might have a wonderful way with words or animals, or they might look after their little brother or sister at home. And I think that we're stuck in this kind of regimentation. And I do think there's too much stress as well. I think there's a lot of stress with education. You've got to get A stars, you've got to get first in your degree, you've got to get this, you've got to get that. And I think it's very widespread. It used to be like a few people had that. Now it's a widespread thing, and you know,
Yes,
it's hard, you know.
it is hard for young people even to concentrate and do all of this. But in a brighter side, there are a lot of, softwares, a lot of things that will aid their education
That's
and,
true.
and help, to excel in education. So thank you for your time. One more question that I have for you is, what would you like people what is will be your key message to them?
Um, I don't want to say something that everyone says, which is, believe in yourself, which is true.
Mhm.
It's go and do one unexpected thing today. Even if it's like if you never wash up or help your parents, even though they ask you, just do it and just see how it feels to do one thing. Bend down and sniff a rose, or um, you know, do something that you don't normally do and just see how it feels, because I think that's how you find your skill as well. You do something unexpected. Read a book no one would expect you to read, like a book on car mechanics, or do and I am not against the computer. I think, you know, and the social media, I think they give us a huge amount. So I'm not going to say, go and dig the garden. I just say, go somewhere online, if you're going online, that you've never been before. Obviously, somewhere safe and nice, but that doesn't exploit people. But find a bit, find a radio program or a podcast you would never listen to in 600 years, and just see where it takes you. You know, just try something different.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is well said. Thank you so much. And I hope, you know, to hear our audience, and please feel free and comment below and share with us the one skill that helped you succeed in life. You just had what Victoria, her one skill that helped her to succeed in life. You also had my one skill that helped me to succeed in life. And, for goodness sake, our two skills actually are the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Very inspiring. And we will, like to welcome you another live session, but now we will allow our audience, to share and comment about this, interview that we had. And yeah, and thank you so much for your time.
Take care.
You too.
Bye.